Wade from Utah, geo-air, why you decided Mittleider was the best, EMP, protecting your solar panels. I do have a video. I think this is a great video for everybody to watch. If you go to my YouTube channel and you just do a search for nutrition, then you will see this video come up. And I talk about my experience in trying several different gardening methods all at the same time in the same backyard, growing the same produce, and the difference we've seen between the two, between the 5 actually. So I recommend you take a look at that. But I think the most important thing to do, Wade, is to build a community. One thing I like about where we live in Idaho is we have like-minded people who are in the county, not in the city. It's a different mindset when you go into the county. They're more preparedness-oriented, more self-reliant, more helping neighbors, that kind of thing. When I was in the city, in the gated community, in the high-rent district, you know, the expensive homes where we lived in Texas, we worked with our neighbors on the street because that's who our support group became, was our neighbors. You know, your fence touches somebody else's property. And that is very important, that you find like-minded people and build a support group there. As far as prepping, I've got 12, I think, very well prepared videos on how to prepare any disaster. Go to my YouTube channel, go down to the playlist, and find that video series on how to prepare for any disaster. Elaine in Georgia wants to know about solar setup for bug-ins and bug-outs. I really recommend, and have actually only recommended, the Kodiak portable solar generator. These are just absolutely amazing. I've been watching the production for these for about 3 years because I knew what was coming out, and I kind of use that as my baseline in comparing everything else. Nothing else compared. I mean, it's really the best. It's the latest technology. It's 100 pounds of energy in 20-pound box. It's just absolutely perfect. So if you want to have something for a bug-out solution for power, either a bug-out or bug-in, that's small, it's compact, has over 1,100 amp hours or watt hours in it. Comes with small, very lightweight solar panels. I recommend you go to LDSPrepper.com/Kodiak. If you do buy a Kodiak portable solar generator, please email me and I will send you a free EMP bag that the entire Kodiak generator, the lights, the power supply for charging in the wall, all fit inside of that EMP bag. I think the email address is freeempbag@gmail.com. So type that in. If not, then just email me at LDSPrepper@gmail.com. But let me send you that bag for buying that if you're looking for some portable solar power to run your CPAP machine off of, to keep your refrigerator running. It even runs your microwaves. That's just an awesome machine. I won't go over the details here. I have some other videos on that, but how and when to know? That's a very good question. This is a great newsletter I recommend. This is called World Affairs Brief for $4 a month is basically what it is. $1 a week. Joel Skousen puts out a updated newsletter on what's going on in the world. If you want to know what's going on and when you need to be primed to go, I would click this subscribe button. I'm not affiliated with him, but I highly recommend his information. He is an expert in the field. You'll get letter every week, 52 weeks for $48. Best $1 a week you'd ever spend. So you can go to LDSPrepper.com/WAB for World Affairs Brief and subscribe to Joel's newsletter. Highly recommend that. Monty wants to know, how about home and property security surveillance? Well, actually, I have surveillance cameras at my house. This is the system that I bought at Costco. Of course, I'm not affiliated with Costco other than being a member. I decided that I wanted something that would work at night, that had good range, had good quality at 1080p. It comes with a 2 terabyte hard drive, so it records 24/7. If there's any action, you can set it up so you get a notification if there's any movement, and that it picks up. Infrared that it uses at night will go out to 130 yards. 130 feet, I'm sorry. The only downside is it only comes with 60-foot cables. So I did measure where I was going to be running my cameras and found out that I needed to buy some new cables. I did not buy them from Lorex. I went over to Amazon and bought some 100-foot lengths of cables. I needed 4 of them, and that worked great for me. So I recommend that for surveillance and security. And then for perimeter security, I have used these for years. These are a Dakota alert system. They will work out, I believe it's 100 yards per unit, and it has 4 zones. You want to get this here is the sensor, and this is a radio. You can also get one. Let me do another search here that has a base station with it, and I have the base station with mine here. This one right here. So I get the base station with one sensor, and then I bought some extra radios and walkie-talkie so we can use that for communications, and we can know what's going on. It says, you know, alert zone 1, alert zone 4. So when the deer come in on the property or other two-legged animals coming across the property, we're immediately alerted, know exactly where they're coming across the property. So do recommend those 2 items for home security and surveillance. Performance of the greenhouse plans. Okay. This question comes up a lot. So since I moved from Texas to Idaho, completely different environment, am I doing anything different? The answer is no. I simply follow the 6 laws of plant growth: light, temperature, air, water, nutrition, competition. Highly recommend that you understand that. I believe that is a download on the Facebook group for Mittleider Gardening. So go subscribe to that at no cost, and go to the file section and look for the 6 laws of plant growth. I also have a recorded presentation of that. I am editing it right now. I actually spent 8 hours in editing it and produced it, and it was very, very choppy. So I bought a new laptop to fix that problem, and I bought new editing software to see if that can do a better job on that. So look for that coming out. Very, very good presentation on how to grow food as if your life depends on it. Geothermal greenhouse. If you want some videos, there are several videos out actually on YouTube. If you'll just go to YouTube and just search for LDSPrepper, you'll see these are the top searches on YouTube for LDSPrepper. You'll see one of them is geothermal greenhouse. A lot of other YouTube subscribers and channels have come out and videotaped me, so you can do a search for there and find a lot of information on the greenhouses. I noticed someone just asked, did you move your bees from spring? I did not. They sold very, very quickly, but a few days ago for Christmas, my daughter and my wife gave me new beehives. So we are excited to have bees, and they are excited about having honey. We'll have bees coming in this year. Okay, so Edward in New Hampshire wants to know about our solar panel system. Here's a screenshot. I'm very excited to show this. I hope you can see this clearly on your screen. This is, as of this morning, a live snapshot of our solar production since January 22nd when we put in the solar panel system. So now down here you should be able to see that we produce from the sun 7,848.5 kilowatt hours, so 7,848. We sold to the grid from that 7,800, we sold 4,371. So we sold more than half of our power back to the grid. Our particular situation here in Idaho, the utility company buys back our extra power at full retail. It is wonderful. We have purchased from the grid in the last 12 months 3,600 kilowatt hours, because at night, in order for me to make my batteries last longer, I don't cycle the batteries. I don't pull power from the batteries to run the house at night. I pull power back from the grid. I'm simply buying back power I sold them during the day. As you can see, we have a net profit in a 12-month period. I have over, it looks like 1,300 kilowatt hours in our credit. We have not had a utility bill since February of 2015. It is just worked. From what I understand, the solar power credits end in December 2016, I've been very happy with Big Dog Solar. I have several videos on them. Contact Trevor at Big Dog Solar. Do me a favor. If you will let me know that you've ordered a system through them, I will send you 2 extra large EMP bags that I'll buy for my son so you can put your electronics in them. That's kind of my way of letting Trevor know that your referral came from me, and you will get those EMP bags, put your computers and other electronics in. But we could not be happier with our system, just ecstatic with it. Okay, I can sign up with Google Sniper through you. Just want to know how you are maximizing online businesses. I work with local clients, signed up a local client last month. We built the website for them. They're all over the first page of the search engines for their products. Very happy client. I sell affiliate products. Love affiliate products because you don't have to do any inventory. You're not dealing with clients, shipping, receiving, returns. I cover affiliate networks in the videos I referred to you earlier, so take a look at that. Or become an affiliate for Amazon. I am starting a branded store here shortly. Probably in January I'll have a new branded store up. So we'll see how that goes. That'll be a new venture in the online marketing. All this has come from the Google Sniper training. It applies to all of these things very, very well. All right, so what we have here, Tom from Utah. Any changes from the existing system? Yes, I have 2 changes I would recommend. I would not recommend using 2x4s on the end walls. In the materials list it shows 2x4s. I would use 4x4s because the 2x4 is bent under the pressure of the inflated plastic. And I would fold the plastic so it doesn't capture condensation on the inside of the greenhouse. We haven't had any mold or mildew problems, but it does get lots of condensation from heating and cooling. So those are the 2 things I would change so far. Other than that, that's it. I've been really, really happy with the geothermal greenhouse. Google Sniper, your thoughts on someone starting today from ground floor. Is it still possible to make a decent income? I think we covered that with Ben and Rachel. Ben's nodding, absolutely. Yes. Again, there's a link to the Google Sniper video, the link to buying the program. I went over what I recommend you do and don't get, and the hosting link for HostGator. I get contacted all the time. Feel free to send me a private message on YouTube or send me an email at LDSPrepper@gmail.com. If you get Google Sniper and you have questions, I am here to help. I help people all the time. We do Skype sessions. I don't charge for that. There's so much money to be made on the internet, but sometimes you have questions that's not clear and you need somebody who's been down that road. Glad to help. Send me an email, send me a private message, and we'll hook up and get you some training. What fertilizer to use? This is going to shock you. It doesn't make any difference what fertilizer that you use. I know that's maybe a shock, but it doesn't. What you do need to make sure is that you follow the 6 laws of plant growth, which we covered, and that whatever fertilizer you use, you have all the essential nutrients. So if you know that your compost has all the essential nutrients in it because you've done a test, then great. If you know whatever you're using has all the essential minerals, nutrients in the right amounts and the right ratios, then great. What I have found is, for me, the least expensive, easiest, most scientific and environmentally safe approach to gardening is to use the Mittleider weekly feed in the Mittleider gardening method, because it's measurable. I am not overfeeding, I'm not underfeeding, and it's inexpensive. We're growing tomatoes for 8 cents a pound. That's the bottom line, and they're really, really good tomatoes. What are the steps for building a greenhouse? Mandy wants to know from Tennessee. First of all, you need to ask yourself, what do we want to use the greenhouse for? Do we want to grow year-round? What's the environment? Is it cold? Is it really hot? And what size do we want? How big do we want? My 20 by 40 greenhouse provides more food than my wife and I can eat year-round. We had the outdoor garden in the dirt, and we had the greenhouse garden, and it was just about killed us with all the food processing. So we are just going to be growing in the greenhouse this coming year. Of course, you need to source your materials, figure out pricing for the materials, and labor costs to get it built if you're going to have somebody build it. What about pets traveling in an emergency situation? How do you administer to others in times of trouble, natural medicines? My wife just today sent in her master thesis to become a certified master herbalist. She highly recommends this course. This is an online course. It's $800. This is not the course that she took, but this is a very practical approach to understanding herbs and natural remedies. When we get sick, we take herbs or we take essential oils, colloidal silver. That's pretty much it. I haven't been to a doctor since I was 18 and got my physical to go on a church mission. When was the last time you went to a doctor, Ben?
I think when I got married, Texas requires you get checked out about something.
You had to get checked out about something when you got married. Rachel? Can't remember last time. If you understand nutrition and herbs and essential oils and the power of colloidal silver and you eat well, you'll do well. So homegrownherbalist.net is the link I recommend, and my wife recommends that. She just got her certification papers turned in from the Dr. Christopher in Utah. Let's see, there's a question here. This last question you want me to address, Ben?
Yeah, it's been multiple questions.
Okay. Okay. Does the soil have to be attached to the ground in the Mittleider method? Can above ground containers grow? Great question, Mint. And I've got your questions listed here. I don't know if we're going to get through all 164 questions, but I got your questions in the list here. No, you can have a raised, like a tabletop garden using the Mittleider method. And if you use the sand and sawdust, you'll have a much lighter mix in the tabletop than you would on the ground. So I've got very good friends in Houston, Texas, who have tabletop gardens and have done extremely well. You look up Bob on the Mittleider Gardening Group in Facebook, and he'll be glad to show you photos of what he's done. But yes, it works great. All right, we've got some more questions coming in, but let's keep going here. And I think Aaron will cover the canning question. I do have a video on canning. It actually shows, I think Ben was there and Heidi was there. We were doing some home canning. You can get canning equipment from the LDS canning centers. You can borrow it if you get a member who's a friend or a neighbor who's a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'll let you check those out and do some home canning. Okay, this is a great question, Steve, in Missouri. Earning income from a homestead. First of all, you have to decide, what do you want to grow? What can you grow? But the bottom line is, if you can grow tomatoes, that's your biggest moneymaker. Let's do some quick math here. Hopefully you can see this. Tell me if you, yeah, okay. All right, if you have a 30-foot row of tomatoes, you'll have 40 plants in that row. So let's say, example, you have 4 30-foot rows of tomatoes. 4 times 40 is 160. 4 times 40, 160 plants. If you get from those plants a very conservative 20 pounds of tomatoes per plant, then you've grown 3,200 pounds of tomatoes in 120 linear feet of growing space, 18 inches wide. If you sold those tomatoes for $3 a pound, you would make $9,600. Jacob Mittleider says that the most profitable product you can grow is tomatoes. So if you want to make money from your homestead, I highly recommend selling tomatoes. It's very low cost. It's much less expensive than growing livestock. You got dirt. The dirt's free. You get your micronutrients and mix up your Mittleider weekly feed, so you have high production. The best growing, highest producing, and one of the very best tasting tomatoes for an heirloom is Big Beef. That's what I would recommend if you want to, for a hybrid. Hybrids typically will produce 3 times more in the same space than an heirloom. But if you want to have some variety, I would grow the Big Beef for profitability and productivity and for flavor. And for heirloom, I would recommend the Cherokee Purple. The next most profitable product was probably cucumbers, then green beans, and then squashes. If you want to do eggs, if there is anybody on this seminar that is profitable producing eggs, let me know. Just put up a 1. because I have not found anybody who's actually profitable in selling eggs or milk in a kind of a homestead situation that isn't doing it commercial. Lots of twos. All right. So I didn't see any ones there. But, I mean, hopefully there's a whole bunch of people out there doing it. But when you're selling livestock, it's going to be a lot more expensive for you to do that. Okay, Nancy from Idaho. A better siphon apparatus for blue barrels. Well, I would just go to Amazon and I would just do a search for siphons or Home Depot. Actually, the one that I have for my 55-gallon drums for water storage, I got at Home Depot. It is this one right here. It's a 36-inch hand pump. Again, it's EMP proof. And it's $32. And it goes all the way down to the bottom of the 55-gallon drum. It moves a lot of water very easily, and it wasn't very expensive. That's what I am using for my 55-gallon drums. Hope that helps you, Nancy. David in Arizona wants to know about greenhouse cooling, solar for greenhouse. I did not find that the geo-air worked very well for cooling, David. When it was over 100 degrees in the high 90s, and I had the doors closed on the greenhouse and the 40% shade cloth, it was still too hot. I wasn't moving enough air. Since then, I have changed the blower from the 8-inch hyper fan that I bought on Amazon to the 1/3 horsepower squirrel cage furnace blower. I haven't gone through the summer yet with that, so I will let you know on that. But I think possibly with the additional styrofoam insulation on the north side and the shade cloth and the newer blower, it may work. I haven't had personal experience yet, David, on a solution for cooling, so stay tuned on that. If you do, let me know. From Washington, are you using organic fertilizer? You know, we did for 30 years. But the question really is, what is it about organic fertilizer that interests you? Most people have to kind of think about that. But really, probably the real answer is because it's organic and doesn't have oil in it or synthetic fertilizers. You know, there's a couple really good videos. I'll just let an organic grower tell you in person on his own channel on YouTube about realizations of synthetic versus organic. So I would recommend you go to 1 Yard Revolution and just do a search for, are synthetic fertilizers really petroleum based? Do a search for that on YouTube. Listen to that video. He has no agenda other than to help people grow food like I do. You know, he has his perspective and I have mine, but he's honest. He's truthful. He shares facts. That's what I like about him. He also has another great video on soil testing. The reason why I like this particular one is because he shows you that his worm compost, he has possibly toxic levels of nutrients in the soil because without testing every batch of fertilizer, you don't know what you're growing, and so you have to be careful. So if you, again, it doesn't make any difference what you use to fertilize with, but what's important is that you make sure that your plants have the right amount of nutrients in the right ratios. The easiest, least expensive way for me to do that is using the Mittleider gardening method. That's why I use that. Top priorities when beginning homesteading: water rights, water rights, water rights. Have a water well. Actually, what we did when we were moved by the Spirit to move to Idaho, I got out my maps and I marked out where the Home Depots and Lowe's were, where the hospitals were, where my church was, and that's where we started looking for property, what was important to us. So that's what I would recommend. There's also a great book by Skousen called
Strategic Relocation.
Strategic Relocation. Just do a search for Joel Skousen, Strategic Relocation. And that is a great resource. Ben has it, I have it, Rachel has it. Great for finding places to live. Dwayne in Utah, I'm very poor and just starting. What can I do to very cheap? First thing to do, Dwayne, I hope I'm saying that right, is you want to build a group of like-minded people. Talk to your neighbors, talk to people at church, talk to people in your community, in the groups that you belong to, and find like-minded people who are interested in getting prepared for economic collapse, for EMP, for unemployment, whatever it is, bad weather. Kind of build a network there so you can support each other. Make sure that you're close to each other, walking distance, because really that's where your support is going to come from. Water purification, water purification, water purification. Very, very important. That's why I really pushed the Berkey water filter. when I went off grid, and I have a video series of me going off grid for a week, the most important thing I found was water purification was absolutely critical. I also recommend that you check out for buying food. The least expensive way to buy food storage is to go to the LDS Church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, home storage centers. They have pre-packaged, in cases, in bags, already ready for storage, food storage. It's hard to beat the prices. They're not trying to be competitive. They're just doing things at cost. Just do a search for LDS Home Storage Center on the internet, and they'll give you locations of where they are throughout the United States and throughout the world. Costco, Sam's Club, those are the places we go to get other items. You can buy dehydrated or freeze-dried food. That's going to be the most expensive way to do food storage. The least expensive is to buy ingredients. When my daughter Rachel said, "Dad, what do I need to do to start my food storage?" I said, you make up recipes, that food that you want to eat, you buy the ingredients, and then that's how you buy your food storage. But most important, Dwayne, is do not go into debt to get prepared. Do it step at a time like we all have. We've covered solar. Shannon wants to know about medical preparations. First thing is get off your meds. If there's an EMP, you're not going to get meds. If you're on meds, it's because you're not healthy. So I know that's kind of a hard thing to say, but do the best you can to get off your meds. And the best thing that we know of, and that what we found in our family, is that we eat fresh, raw fruits and vegetables as much as we can. It's by far the bulk of our diet. Now, sitting right behind us, we do have a garden variety pizza, and we got what is the other one? Pepperoni that we grabbed on our way over here as we were testing for this presentation. But definitely, by far, the majority of our food comes from the garden. All right, Tim in Oklahoma, soil mixture other than sawdust. There are lots of soil mixtures you can move. This is just a snapshot out of the Mittleider Gardening Course book. It was five different recommendations as far as soil. A lot of advantages in using custom soils. I highly recommend you get this book at mittleidergardening.com. But if I were in southeast Texas, I have rice hulls available. I use rice hulls and sawdust and sand. I know people in Canada who get free peat moss that's thrown away out of greenhouses. If I were in Colombia, I'd probably use coffee bean hulls and sand. If I were in Hawaii, I'd probably use coconut coir and sand. But the soil doesn't make that much difference. You just need to make sure that it's light and airy and will hold the water and the nutrients in the plants. We are out of time, so we need to wrap up. Thank you very much. We didn't get through hardly any of the questions. We did the best that we could. Let's just see. We're down to 42 out of 100 and something questions here, out of 151. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much for being here. Best of success to you. If I can be of any help, get a hold of me. This is LDS Prepper reminding you, if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear.